Welcome to the LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Charles Bowen with us. Charles is an adjunct professor at Georgia State University College of Law, teaching innovation in the practice of law. He recently retired as General Counsel for Cox Family Office with responsibilities including investment transactions, governance, compliance, and risk management. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Great to be with you today.
It's great to be with you as well, Charles. Can you tell us something about you, about how you started your career in the legal industry?
Yes, so now I'm in a steady state here at Atlanta, Georgia in the US as Adjunct Professor teaching now fully back in person. You know, during COVID pandemic, we were remote for almost 2 years, now fully in person and augmented by technology tools. So pretty much in a steady state now, but as you know, legal is not always a steady state. Our clients have new and interesting issues that come up very fast. So we have to learn to be nimble and flexible. And my background over the last 25 years has been mostly with Cox, which is a privately owned holding company that owns operating companies in the media and automotive spaces. So as a parent company with multiple holding companies, two of which were public, US SEC public companies for many years, we had a very different type of approach. Because we did not have our own operating business, we had to monitor and create solutions for the various portfolio companies, many of which were quite different. So that required an interesting mix of skills from the legal side, because many different industries regulated in different ways with different approaches. So we had to learn to communicate, to listen, to develop solutions, and then help the companies implement them in a way that had enough commonality to create efficiencies and scale, but that also were tailored for the unique business needs of the operating companies. So that's the ecosystem that I've spent the most time in over the last 25 years, trying to align different client needs in a way that shares commonality, efficiency, and build scale.
Amazing. Fantastic. Now, yeah, I can understand it's been quite a impressive journey and quite a journey where you have been able to continuously put on more and more insights into your career. I can understand that. Now, coming to the second question, do you feel technology has helped to its full potential post-pandemic? Will this continue to be the same in the future? And if it is going to continue in the future, how it is going to be continued?
That's a great question. You know, really since the global financial crisis back in 2008, we started taking a closer look at how could technology help us get work done more efficiently and with less cost. I think many companies shared cost pressures and a need to economize, to move work to the lowest possible scale, but also with increasing legal and regulatory complexity. Mergers have accelerated in the United States and worldwide. So we were faced, like many companies, with two challenges: a growing volume of work, ever more complex, and also a need to contain costs and do the work more efficiently. So we started looking at that back in 2008 and developed some tools in terms of e-discovery, document review, M&A due diligence approaches, where we could create contract databases and then develop search tools to extract information about the companies and their performance and common contract and deal terms. So when the pandemic hit in the start of 2020, we were positioned with some basic technology tools, But what really changed was the explosion of user uptake. Between December of 2019 and June of 2020, the number of users of Zoom, like you and me are using today on this interview, increased by 30x, by 30 orders of magnitude. So we built a foundation of technology, but it really was not until the COVID pandemic that we were compelled to deploy it across wide bases of employees, people who are remote in different countries, even in different continents. So the uptake of technology, both in business and in legal, was very impressive. And we had a baseline to build from that, but the ability to be nimble and deploy it quickly was very impressive. When we talked 2 years ago during the height of the pandemic, I thought that was going to really help people get work done and do it more efficiently. However, at that time, I expressed a concern about the remote workplace and its impact on our ability to collaborate, to be creative, and to build connective solutions. And that concern has been borne out over the last 2 years. Heidi Gardner at Harvard Business School has showed research, which she started publishing in July of 2020 during the pandemic, that the impact of collaboration grows business, but that when people are remote, like in the COVID pandemic, there's a tendency to develop information silos where we each go deep into our own space and we don't share learnings and know-how and best practices. So between that type of knowledge hoarding instead of knowledge sharing, it's really created some headwinds that have impacted lawyers' ability to practice together and collaboratively with their clients. Then in 2021, Richard Susskind from Oxford and Randy Kaiser, K-I-S-E-R, who's a consultant in the US, have separately put out research that the ability of our legal profession to innovate and collaborate and develop collective solutions has actually declined during the pandemic because of these factors of segregation of knowledge, hoarding of work because of need to maximize revenue. So these have exerted a downward pressure on legal productivity and legal efficiency during the pandemic. So long story short, I view it as a mixed bag. I think COVID helped us grow the use of technology, but has exacerbated or worsened some of our professional trends to keep work to ourselves and not grow the knowledge base. So it will be interesting to see how when we fully come out of the pandemic in 2022, whether those trends will help us grow business or whether there will still be challenges.
It's been a similar case with a lot of other industries as well. But with the legal industry, I think this is this particular sector has opened up a lot of opportunities at the same time, and also created a lot of blockages in terms of the way how the functioning of the industry was actually taking its route. You're absolutely
right. That's a great point. The legal has its own unique role as a business advisor and business facilitator. And at the same time, we are different. We're a regulated profession. It requires different knowledge, education, and credentialing than general business. So we're a little bit separate already from our clients. And my view is that anything that makes us more separate is going to decrease our clients' appetite for engaging with us. So I think we need to be closer to our client and not farther apart.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, moving on to the next question, do you see the contracts and the contracting process playing a role in the global business transformation now?
Yeah, again, I think we have an interesting inflection point here as global trade has started to increase. Bloomberg supply lines reported just last week, May 30th, that global trade continues to increase in many sectors, and U.S. manufacturing is increasing in certain sectors more than industry predicted 3 months ago. So there are opportunities. There's a lot of pent up demand from consumers coming out of the pandemic. However, as we all know, there's economic headwinds also from inflation, interest rates going up, a war and supply chain unrest, shortage of shipping capacity, and other forces that could constrain contracting activity. So what I'm encouraging our clients to do is to get out in front of that, to execute quickly, get out in front of these currents that are pulling us out of the COVID pandemic, and get in front of some of these supply chain challenges. And so I think contracting is a way to do that. The better that we can implement contracts, the faster we can get to yes, to quote the great textbook, and create a transaction that can then be implemented around some of these supply chain shortages, ahead of inflation, where we can control pricing pressure by contract provisions and escalators and agreed upon rates and rate cards, where we can control pricing instead of being at the mercy of the economy.
Very true, very true, very correct. How can we reform the legal system, by the way? I mean, this is the next question which I was planning to ask you. But this is something which is very, very important. Like, how can we reform the legal system? As an expert, I would like to have your feedback on this. Make it more effective. Is it the fact that we have to make it more effective, or are we following the global standards by any chance?
The experts around the globe have one common issue that is the key for legal reform in the 21st century, and that is access to justice. The ability for businesses or individuals to be able to access the court system, the trade panels, and the ability to get legal advice, even from their lawyer, to enable them to make decisions, to resolve disputes, and to pursue their opportunities. And no matter which continent we're on, whether it's North America, South America, Europe, Asia, or Africa, it's all the same. The court systems in Brazil have a backlog of 60 million cases right now. In the United States, just our immigration courts alone have a backlog of 2 million cases. And that could be repeated in almost every country. There's just simply a need for people, whether they're political refugees, victims of war, or just citizens trying to pursue their opportunities and resolve disputes, to get in front of a tribunal, to have their case heard, and to get valuable third-party input or legal advice. So I think access to justice is the #1 area of reform. And to our credit as a profession, there are efforts to correct this, but each legal system is different. And so there's not a one size fits all solution. But one thing we do all have in common is technology. And whether it's a court system that is using a paper filing system or an automated database, all of our court systems can improve their use of technology so that people can have more information, easier ability to navigate the process, which can be very complicated, and better experience when they're in the court. You know, over the COVID pandemic, I had some time to do volunteer pro bono work here in the US in our court systems. And when you're actually in the court systems at a level where people are pursuing things like lease evictions, being put out of their homes, or guardianship, where young people are moving from one family to another, it's remarkable how slowly the process works. And each case takes 30, 40, 50, 60, 90 minutes. And if there's not a lawyer there, it takes even longer because the judge has to explain the process at every step and has to check the documents, which maybe the person has never seen before, and give them time to read it. When there are lawyers involved, where there are court navigators involved in the process, that goes much more smoothly. The person tends to get a better result, and then the next group of cases can come to court. Without those kind of efficiencies, the backlog will continue to grow and more people will be left without access to justice. So that's a moral issue, in my opinion, but it's also a professional issue, because if people feel frustrated and unable to access justice, they're going to stop using our services and just figure out how to get by without it. So it's really a win-win solution, right? Businesses can get their deals done with more certainty, and that's important from a operating and an accounting standpoint, to know that you have a deal that's done. Individuals who are pursuing deals or disputes, they can get their case in front of an impartial tribunal and see whether they have a case or not. That helps them to plan whether to stick with their approach or try something different. So it gives individuals more optionality. And then finally, the court system itself benefits because there's greater throughput, citizens are getting better results. The court system can then not focus on spending hours reading documents to a witness, but to focus on real needs, like people who need housing or people who need representation in court. So the whole system wins if we can implement more efficiency and more technology to move cases through the process, to expand knowledge among citizens and improve access to justice.
Correct. Very, 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 very true. Now, moving on to the last question is, what additional predictions do you see for the profession in the next 5 years?
Like we talked about earlier, I'm an optimist that with technology, lawyers can do their work more efficiently and reach more people. So I think there's a couple of interesting areas where we're just starting to see things happen that I think can really make a change for the better. And one of them is in the metaverse, which is virtual reality or augmented reality, to improve things like meeting space, where Zoom and video conferencing has taken a quantum leap in the last 3 to 4 years and has enabled things like this conversation. I think we'll see a similar transformation in the next 3 to 5 years with augmented reality and virtual reality. As these headsets and other optical tools become more lightweight and cost effective, we can get into a space in a virtual meeting where we can share documents, where we can bring other people in and out of the conversation much more easily and naturally. And it really creates a much more immersive experience. Manufacturing companies are already using virtual reality in training and simulations. Some of them are reporting that the length of training classes has been cut by 50% from paper or video conferencing to virtual interactive, where you can touch the product and feel it and share it in the virtual space and really understand it better. It builds muscle memory and repetition that we simply don't have through a video interaction. So I think one trend I predict will be a growth in the metaverse in the next 3 to 5 years, with legal education, client interaction, and professional meetings. The next space I'm excited about is in the corporate governance space, where blockchain technology has facilitated the creation of the DAO, which is the decentralized autonomous organization. So how is that different from a human organization like a corporation or a limited liability company? With a DAO, the members will program a smart contract or an algorithm to make decisions. So at the moment, it lends itself well to things like investment contracts or production schedules, where based on certain program criteria that are programmed into the algorithm, decisions are made, phases are released, investments are made, and if there's unexpected issues, the members all have voting rights and can vote through their blockchain tokens almost in real time. So you shorten the decision-making cycle from days or weeks to literally minutes or hours. So the US has been behind some other countries in adopting this, but it's catching fire here. So states like Wyoming and Tennessee have already created formal recognition in their corporate governance statutes for a decentralized autonomous organization. So that's a long-winded way of saying, I think that the way we interact together for standard setting, for corporate action, and for human agency can be moved into the technology space, and that we maintain all of the things that we value, like individual input and efficiency, but through a programmatic structure. So I think that's exciting to me. You know, we've talked a lot about technology, and I am a techno-optimist, but I'm also a big fan of human-centered design. And the design thinking movement that's grew in Stanford University and Apple Computer and other technology success stories over the last 15 years really really resonates with me, because I think when we can connect with our clients and build solutions that add value to them, not just the approach that makes sense to me, we're going to create more efficient and more responsive solution. But notwithstanding human-centered design, I think we have to be open to processes and solutions that are not human-centered, that can be facilitated by technology and decentralized organizations, and even out into virtual reality, to make things more efficient, reach more consumers, reach more clients, and promote access to justice. So as we move further into the 21st century, that's my hope.
Thank you very much. And it's been, you know, a fantastic kind of feedback from your side. So that brings us to the end of this conversation with you. And thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. We look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics of the industry. For our viewers, if you like this chat with Charles, then please like and share the video, and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from the industry leaders. So this is Kaushik from LexTalk signing off.